Today we're going to decide who's going to play on the left and who's going to play on the right. In my opinion, people are deciding that most of the time depending on their return or their best shot in defense. And today we'll explain that that's not the case. So let's start. What is your role on the court? What is the role of the player on the left and what is the role of the player on the right? The roles are very different from each other. So what I think is important is to understand why and what you should do on the left and what you should do on the right, and why should you play where. So why should you play on the right and why should you play on the left? What is your role? What is the selection? Why should somebody that is tall play on the left? Why should somebody that is small should play on the right? So today we'll explain a bit on where you should be positioned and what you should do depending on which side you play. It's very important to understand if you are a left-hander, you should always play on the right, because you have your forehand in the middle of the court. If you are right, like right-handed, you can play on the right and you could play on the left. The best option is that a right-hander plays on the left and a left-hander plays on the right, because you have both forehands in the center of the court. So to start explaining why you should play on the left and why and who should play on the right is about the range. The player on the left has a bigger court. So the player on the left has to cover more ground, has to run more. The player on the right has a smaller court. So what I would recommend is the player that is taller, bigger or quicker should play on the left. So the player on the left is getting a lot of volleys and a lot of lobs, because the player on the left has to cover for the player on the right. So you will see a lot of times that the player on the left is going to the position on the right to get the bandeja in there. So you need to be quick and you need to be able to have like longer arms and maybe better shots because you are playing on the left. So the player that is actually better than the player on the right should play on the left. So the best player should play on the left. Okay, so the player on the left has a bigger court. So I would say when there is a lob, this is all for the player on the left. So the left player always have to cover the left shoulder of this player. This is not necessary if the player is left-handed here, because they can cover this one and the player on the left can cover the middle of his side of the court. So it would be perfect to have a left-hander on the right and a right-hander on the left. Also, one of the biggest aspects is the big smash. So a player with a big smash should play on the left. A kick smash, it is easier for the player on the left to kick the ball out of the court. The angle of the kick smash is way easier than if you play on the right. The smash is not also about power, so you don't have to be big and large to smash with power out of the court. But if you have a better smash, you can finish the point more often. The player on the right has a smaller angle to smash the ball out of the court. Of course, you see LeBron and Galán playing together and they both can smash out of the court. But the player on the right, if they're going for the sacar por tres, either have to play flat out of the court, cross court, or with soft kick out of the court there. The player on the right maybe has to be more precise, because the smash straight out of the court is much more difficult. The other thing is that the player on the right has to build up the point for the player on the left, and most defending shots are going to the center. So the player on the left has a bigger court, gets more balls, has to be better, but is also more likely to finish the point. The right side player should move a lot, because sometimes the player on the right doesn't get any shots, but has to build up the point and has to be very structured in building up the point. Maybe play straight, so the player on the left can get inside to finish. So the player on the right builds up, the player on the left is able to finish. Not to say every ball you have to bomb, you have to kill everybody, but the player on the left can finish more because of the angle and the bigger forehand spot. Of course, this is not always the case. There are multiple ways to still play aggressive if you play on the right. Because LeBron and Galan are doing really, really well. They can play padel. And it's a kind of a new way to play, and it works quite well. So I'm going to explain also how you can be aggressive if you play on the right. And by the way, people, want to speak to you a little bit. We are moving, by the way, so it's a bit busy. I will also show you the new apartment. Another thing is that we have a new bandeja course. So we have a free bandeja course on the website. So if you go to www.otro-nivel.com, you can sign up for the free email course. It's a 5-day course for the bandeja. And the bandeja, the subject is how to keep the ball low. If you like to do the email course, you go and sign up and you will get a 5-day email into your email box. And from there you can learn the bandeja. And there will be coming more courses, so stay tuned. That's why also you should subscribe to the newsletter. New courses are coming. So the way most padel teams play is that if they want to pressure, they are volleying and smashing to the left. Because if we play in that angle, if I'm on the left, I can go into the center and accelerate. If we play to the defender on the right, I have to cover this part of the court. So then the player on the left moves in with the backhand. And that will be very hard to accelerate and to finish the point. So if you would like to win more points or to score more points, it would be way better to play most of your shots to the player on the left at the back. If you are defending, it would be better to defend to the player on the right, because the player on the right has a backhand in the center and cannot accelerate from there. So if you're in trouble, if you're looking to get to the net with a lob, play to the player on the right, to his backhand, because then you can get out of the troubles and they cannot really accelerate and do and score. So defend to the player on the right, attack to the defender on the left. This is how most padel teams play in order to play aggressive. If there is a big difference between the players, so the player on the right is amazing and the player on the left is shit, or the other way around, you might change your tactics. But if you are looking to a couple that has the same skills, I would recommend that way to play. So if you play on the right, it doesn't mean that you cannot play aggressive. It just means that you have to play aggressive positionally wise. We did this in a previous video with the four patterns that you can play. If my partner on the left plays a very good bandeja here, I can move in very close to the net because my partner is going to take everything over my left shoulder anyway. So I can go close to the net and maybe play out, play fast, play the drop shot. So the player on the right can be aggressive positionally wise. So this is why you should experiment to play on the left player and that the right player moves in, because everything here is for my partner and would be good for my partner because he has the forehand over there. So in that way you can play very aggressive. If I am left-handed and my partner is right-handed, you can do both and I can build up for him or he can build up for me. That doesn't really matter. So that's a very good way, and that's why you see many good players left and right to play together. So this is why it's important for the player on the right to move a lot, because the player on the right has to intercept or to know when to move forwards, and the player on the left might not move so much forwards because you have to cover more ground and you have to be very fast to move a lot. So the player on the right, for everybody that plays on the right, go closer and make sure to attack positionally wise. Also with lobs. So if I lob to the player on the left, the player on the right can also move in very close to the net to get that ball. So for the players on the right, move more. From the players on the left, try to maybe move a little bit less because you have to cover more court. So if you are running too much, you might feel exhausted. So you need to be very aware on how much energy you have left, because if you spend it all in the first set, you have to move so much and you cannot play aggressive anymore. What is also important to understand that if the player on the right is more building up, playing a little bit slower, and the player on the left plays more aggressive, you need to have some extra breath to accelerate and to break the pattern. So the right player is the player that plays the pattern, and the player on the left is the one that breaks the pattern. Slow, 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 fast. Slow, 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 fast. Fast, fast, fast. Slow, drop shot. Then you have a very good role dividing. Yeah. Weird word. So this is also what I experience a lot. I did one video with Santi Moreno, it's on YouTube, and he said, Sven, you are playing on the left like you should play on the right. You play perfect padel, you play like a teacher, and they know what you're doing, and it doesn't hurt them, because that's the way you should build up when you are playing on the right or your partner on the left. So I've been playing on both sides, and I have been playing too passive on the left. I should be creative on the left. I should try stuff. I should change direction. I should accelerate to the other player. And on the right, I'm playing well, but I need to be playing with somebody that finishes the point. Because if I'm building up for nothing, I'm going to play aggressive and we might lose the match. So it's very good to communicate with each other, because you have to tell your partner, well, look, you're playing on the left, you have to do a little bit more. Well, okay, you play on the right, you cannot make any mistakes, or you should make less mistakes, and to build up. You're playing on the right, don't smash. The angle is very difficult. Let me smash. If your partner doesn't smash anything on the left, talk to him. If your partner doesn't build anything if your partner doesn't build up on the right, talk to him or her, of course. So you need to have a plan together. Structure your plan. You're building up, you're attacking. You're doing something different. You can use magic, you can do drop shots, you build up more if we're both right-handed. So this is very important to understand what you're both doing on the court, because then you know how to play padel, and that it's okay to make mistakes sometimes, or that it's not okay to make mistakes sometimes. You can make mistakes, but you cannot play super aggressive on the right. You cannot play super passive on the left. You need to make mistakes. So you have to have good communication with each other, that it's okay that the ball goes into the net, that you smash sometimes against the glass. Doesn't matter, but you have to do something to keep it sparky and to keep it fun, because it's also fun to smash the ball off the court sometimes. So that you make mistakes. Yep. So if you're tiny, more often you play on the right, because if you play on the left, you cannot reach someone of the court. So the bigger player might play on the left, the better smasher might play on the left, the better player might play on the left because it's a bigger court. The player on the right has to move more with small steps. So has to be somebody that is able to move very well. The player on the left has to cover more ground. So long arms, big steps sometimes, to cover the lob. The player on the left might be the one that plays more aggressive. These are things you can decide in who should play on the left and who should play on the right. It's not a strict guideline, because I also like to play with change, so that I play on the right if my partner is serving, and I play on the left when I'm serving. I change around a lot, because you need to change. You need to play and learn on both sides. If you play on the right, you understand what problems, what solutions your partner is facing. If you only play on one side, you don't have a clue on how to read the game. I honestly play a lot on the right, but I still find it hard to read the game properly when I play on the right. So what you should do is play on the other side of the court sometimes to understand the game better. To be honest, guys, I know this about padel, and there is this to learn. So please bear in mind that you're just starting with padel, and that there is so much more to learn and experience. So I know that sometimes it's not fun, and it feels like a completely other sport to play on a different part of the court sometimes, but please experience how it is to play on the different side of the court, because it's going to feel weird, but you're now understanding more what happens. Because if your partner makes a mistake, you understand why they make the mistake and the solutions they make, and maybe you understand how to build up for yourself or how to build up for your partner. So change around, let me know how it goes. And I also would like to know the difference in the YouTube comments or Facebook comments, that how many people are playing on the left and how many people are playing on the right, and how many people are playing on both sides. So let me know that below in the comments. We did a lot of giveaways, and there was also somebody that was spamming on their account, so be careful that who is going to send the message, because I'm going to announce the winner soon. People are still commenting. I'm going to close it soon, and then I will let you know who won the 4-on spray and the shirt. And maybe, well, let's do another one. We do a 4-on giveaway spray. So the spray works amazing. I'm really a fan. Also being sprayed on the grip, which is very tacky. So we do one more giveaway. So if you say Vamos 4-on 2, you can win 4-on giveaway. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hasta luego, ciao, adios.